What's up, guys? It's Busteroni. I'm back with another video on my Reddit bot tutorial series, and some of you guys might have signed up on the last post I posted on Reddit, where I said I would notify you about future videos on Reddit, and I thought I'd just make a video showing how that bot is going to work to notify people when I post a new video. So we're gonna start with we're gonna private message people on a list of usernames whenever I run a command in my console or my terminal. So some of the code we're going to keep from the last bot. We're going to keep the logging in code because that won't really change. And we're going to make a new file. We're going to save it as whatever you really want. I'm going to put it in a new folder called new bot. I'm going to call it notifier.py. Notifier bot, just to be clear. And let's just run this just to make sure everything works. I'm in my new bot folder. I'm going to just get to it. I'm going to say python notifier bot.py. And it's going to log in, hopefully, and everything will be fine. There we go. So, also a side note, the writer of Praw, Bebo, I think it's how you say it, made a video showing a bunch of tips on how to improve the script I wrote. And that was a great video, and he made a lot of good points that I could have done better. So, if you're interested in learning, I'm going to post a link to that in the description. So, the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to make a file with some names, just a text file, and that's going to be like the list of names, and I'm going to add those manually. So I'm going to create a new document, a text file, and I'm going to put some usernames. Let's do Busteroni. Let's put just a username that doesn't exist in, just for testing, and Busteroni test. So we're going to call these usernames.text. And then next thing we're going to do is we're going to really just get a list of all those usernames. So it's really similar to what we did in the last video for saving comments. We're going to do a new function called getUsernames with a file name parameter. And we're going to open the file. And then we're going to read the file. R means read. And we're going to just use the variable f as a temporary file name. F could be anything. It could be file. It could be test. Or F is clear. It just means file. And we're going to read the file. And this is really just like the last thing we did. We're going to split the usernames by new lines. So that means that every time that there's a new line, we're going to split it and make it into a list of usernames. And then we're going to filter out anything that's none. And if you're not clear on this, in one of the last videos I explained in more detail how all of this works. This is great, but there's going to be a problem. So I'm just going... I'll actually explain in a bit. I'll explain the problem in a bit. So, we also have to return the usernames. And we're going to say usernames is equal to get usernames file name. So the way that we're going to receive input for this program is we're going to do it on the command line. We're going to get arguments from the command line. So the way we're going to do that is when we run the program, we're going to do it like this. We're going to say python notifier.py and then file name and then subject of the message and then body. And right now it's not going to work because file name is not defined. So what we're going to do is we're going to first make sure we're getting valid input. So when we get valid input, we want to get 4 commands. The 4 commands are 1, the name of the file. That just counts as a command, notifier.py. The second command is the file name. The third command is the subject, and the fourth command is the body. So if there are not 4 commands, we know that these are provided invalid input. So we're going to say if. So the way you get the commands is you do sys.argv, and then the first command will be 0 because in programming, or in almost every programming language, probably almost everyone, the first argument you receive of a list of things by getting the 0 index. Programming is 0 indexed. So this is the first argument, this is the second argument, and so on. So we're going to say if the number of arguments, the length of the arguments, is okay. So let's do if not. So if there are not 4 arguments, we're going to give an error message. We're going to say print usage notifier, or we're going to say usage. And then we're going to say we're going to give the name of the file. We're going to say sys.argv. Actually, that's not a good way to do it. Let's just say usage. Notifier bot.py. File, subject, body. And we want to actually say with quotation mark subject because that's how the real program will work. So let's, you might remember we did this in one of the early videos. We have to escape the quotation. So we're going to do that here too. And now if we run this, the same thing, let's just run right here, Python notifierbot.py. We're going to get this error. Oh, I have to import sys, my bad. Now let's run this. Oh, I know what happened. Okay, I'm going to comment this line up for now because it's just going to that directly. We're just going to run it like this. There we go. We got the correct thing. So, an easier way to say this than if not, we could just do if len.sysargv exclamation point equals. That just means, we did this in an earlier video, I think. Just means if the length does not equal 4. So now we know we're getting valid input. Now let's define everything we need to define. So we're going to say the file name is equal to the first argument. Remember that it's the second argument, but it's the first index. The 0 index is the name. I'm just going to print this out just so you guys can all see. We're going to say print sys.argv 0, and we're going to do 1 through 4. And we're going to say 3, 2, 1. So remember, this is the first, second, third, and fourth arguments respectively. So if we run this right now, let's put in some valid input. So you see, the first thing is notifier bot, the second thing is file name, the third thing is subject, and the fourth thing is body pipe. That was a mistake, but yeah. So what we want the file name first, and that's going to be the second argument, but the first index. The subject will be the third argument, but the second index, and the body will be the fourth argument, but the third index. And now we can do usernames is equal to get usernames file name. And let's just print out usernames just to make sure we're doing this correctly. It should print out all the usernames in this file right here. So let's run this. Oh, okay, that's another problem I wanted to fix. So the thing is, there's no file called file name, but the file name should have been is usernames.txt. And then this is a problem we're actually going to fix right now. There you go. So this is the list of usernames. But we want to know what happens if the username is not valid. So what we're going to do is we're going to write an exception. So I think we did this in one of the earlier videos, but what you can do is you can say try. So we're going to try to do this. But if there's an exception, if something goes wrong, we're going to say, so you might see right here, the error is an IO error, which means input-output error, I think. So we're going to say, if there's an input-output error, we're going to print error file, and then we're going to concatenate the strings that we did before, was not found in the current directory. And then we can just quit the file and leave and just say there's a problem by doing quit. And that will just end the program. So now if we run this with the invalid input, you're going to hopefully get that error. There, oh, I shouldn't be all capitalized. That's my mistake. There we go. Error, file name was not found in the current directory. So, of course, that would work with any file that just happened to be file name. We can make this test, and it's going to say error test was not found in the current directory. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually send the messages. So let's write a function to send the messages. Let's come down here, and let's say def send message. To send a message, we're going to need a username, so the parameters will be username, subject, and body. And just to be clear, these could be anything. This could be A, B, and C. It could be anything. It's just an easy way to see what's what. So we're going to get, so the way you send a message on Pro is you use the instance of Reddit. So we're going to use R. And we're going to say R dot, actually let's pass R as well, just to be more clear on how this works. You don't technically need to pass R, but it's not really that important right now. We're going to do r.redditor. So we're getting an instance of a Redditor, and the Redditor will be obtained by the username of the Redditor. Dot message. So we're sending a message to the Redditor with a subject and a body. And that's really the way you send a message. So let's try to send messages now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through every single username. So we're going to say for username in usernames. And you might remember we did something really similar before with comments. We did for comment and comments. Now we're just looping through the usernames. We're doing for username in usernames. And we're going to call this method. We're going to say send message username subject body. We're sending the same subject and body to every message. So let's do this, and you're going to see a problem we're going to get in 1 second. So let's do the real file name, usernames.txt, with hello and body. Well, okay. Well, I don't know what happened there. Oh, okay. So I'm going to explain that in a bit, but we're not going to use the exclamation point for now. We're just going to say hello and body, and I'll fix that in just 1 minute. So I have to do the real file name again. And I have to pass R. That is my mistake. R. There we go. So there's a problem. The user does not exist, because remember we put in a fake user right here, and they can't find that user. So we're going to do another exception this time. We're going to say try, and let's look at the name of the exception. It was pro.exceptions.api exception. So we're going to say accept pro.exceptions.api exception. And there's a certain kind of API exception. Its user doesn't exist. There are other exceptions that we want to only match for this exception. So we're saying if the text user doesn't exist is in the first argument of E. So remember, the first argument is at index 0. So we're saying if we print out e.arg0, I'm just going to show you it as an example. We're going to print e.arg0. It's going to print out the message user doesn't exist, and then that user doesn't exist on field 2. See? So there, now we know it works correctly. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if user doesn't exist in the first argument, prints redditor plus username plus not found did not send a message. And then we're just going to we don't want to quit the entire program. We're just going to quit the current send. So we're just going to return, and that will just end the current attempt to send this message. And then otherwise, if it all works correctly, we're going to say prints sent message to plus username plus exclamation point. And let's try running this. Oh, I actually should have done busteroni test, not busteroni underscore test. So if I come over here to my account and I refresh, I received a message. I probably received a bunch from testing, but yeah. So pretty much it looks like the script is working as it expected. But we don't want to send messages too fast, or else we might get limited by Reddit's API like last video. So we're going to import time, and we're going to sleep for, let's say, 5 seconds between each message. And that's probably a little much, but I don't want to get spam limited, so I'm just going to keep it as 5. So that should be the end of the video. Let's just do some testing, and I'm going to show you a problem we're going to run into. So let's say, is this working? And then this is a body. So this should work. Yep, it's going to work. We're going to send a message to busteroni. It won't work to designated or whatever, and it's going to work to busteroni test. So I come over here and I refresh. It works. But a problem, let's say I want to use some Markdown. So I'm going to show you an example. If I want to send a message to myself, or to busteroni test, and I have Reddit enhancement suite, so it's going to show me a preview. Let's say I want to do a new line. I'm going to say tests, hello. How do I do a new line over this? So let's try, the way to do a new line, you might remember, we could do \n twice. Let's see what's going to happen if we try that. Is a test. And you're going to see what's going to happen. There's going to be a problem. It literally printed out \n. It didn't escape it. So what we're going to do to fix that is, at least using terminal, it might be different on other command lines. You can do a money sign first, a $sign, and then you can do a single quotation mark and say this, and then you can actually do the \n. Is a test. And I'm sure that's going to work because I've tested it. So once I send the message, I'm going to refresh, And you're going to see it worked, and you can do any kind of Markdown, really. I can do the code with ticks. That should work. So yeah, I hope you found the video interesting. Make sure that if you're interested, you check out Bebo's video. It was definitely made some good points. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you check out future ones. Let me know if you have any feedback. Thanks for watching.